tuning into TTV. I'm your host, Toya, and today is Saturday, and I have the question of the week for you. Where did you come from? Where did you come from? Who are you? And so this question really came out of a time where I do reflection. So I took some time last week to go on my alone trip. You guys saw that because I actually posted videos while I was there. And one of the reasons I do that is to reflect on who I am and to see where I need changes in my own life, whether it's my perception, whether it's my thought process, whatever it is that I need to focus on. That's where I do my alone trip so I can focus on it. And in the process of doing that, one of the things that always comes up, or one of the things that I try to do every time, is to look at who I used to be as compared to who I am today. Where I was in the past as compared to where I am today. And I think we fail to really appreciate our own growth. We look at the things that we are doing in the immediate and we judge ourselves and very critical of ourselves because of what it is we're doing right now, because of what's happening right now. But if we were to take a moment to stop and think about where we were 2 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever that time frame is, we find that we are actually in a different place, or at least we should be. But most of us will find that we're in a different place, that we're not the same person that we used to be, or that we've experienced so much and we've gone through so much that when we look back at it and we look at where we were compared to where we are today, it's dramatically different. And we sometimes, I think, get caught up in our day-to-day lives and in the goals and things that we're trying to accomplish right now that we forget where we were. And so to reflect on that and to go back and think on that is to actually be a little kinder to yourself, to understand that, okay, yeah, I may not be where I wanted to be or where I was trying to be, or yeah, I do have this goal of where I'm going, where I'm headed, but let me stop and think about where I've been and what I've come through. So I'll use myself as an example. I'll give y'all like my life experiences and my little bit of wisdom, so I don't know how many years ago it was, but I was in a relationship and I was living in Hamtramck, and the place that I was living in was not the best place you could live in. Like, I remember we didn't have carpet and the floor was not the nicest. I remember always having to clean it and wipe stuff up, which was good because the kids were always spilling stuff and I didn't have to worry about that part, but it really wasn't up to the standard or the place that I wanted to be. Okay, the relationship I was in at that time, and this was probably about 20 years ago. Yeah, probably about 20 years ago, because my children are 24 and 26 right now. They're going to be 25, 27. So yeah, about 20 years ago, I was not in a situation that I was very happy with. I wasn't happy with my job and the amount of money I was making because I was struggling to pay my bills and just month to month, and even just put food on the table. The person that I was with at the time was not very supportive. They did their own thing and just gave what they felt like giving to the relationship, and it felt like giving as far as the kids go. And so that wasn't the best place for me to be. And so from there, I ended up going out on my own, got a better job, got a better car, ended up with a house, and that was nice and that was going well until the house started falling apart and I couldn't get contractors to come out, at least not the ones that I could afford. If I did, they were asking for stuff I was not willing to give. I wasn't doing, if you know what I mean. So I went from that situation and where, like I said, the house was falling apart. It was really nice and wonderful when I first moved in, but then we ended up with water damage and I couldn't get nobody out to fix it, and just normal house stuff, okay, where your house starts to fall apart after a time. I don't care how long you're in it, you're going to have to do some repairs, you're going to have to make some fixes and things like that. But my struggle was getting somebody out to do it that I could afford to pay. So there was that struggle. And then from there, I ended up getting a better job, which means I could leave that and go someplace else. And I ended up where I am today. And so at the time, this was exactly what it is that I was asking for, exactly what it was that I wanted. But then again, I go through this whole growth process again, and I realized that, the job wasn't making me happy. And so through manifestation, it got removed. So through manifestation, that, you know, ended up not being the situation anymore. I didn't have to worry about it. And now I'm coming into other things that I wanted. Now I'm ready to move again, but I'm ready for something different. You know, I want my own home. I want my own land, you know, so I can do things that I really want and need to do. And so that's going to be the next phase. And that's the goal. And that's what I'm working towards right now. But before all of that, I had to go through everything I went through in order to get to this moment and to be the person that I am today. So even from when I was living in Hamtramck, Michigan, which you can Google it. So I was living in Hamtramck, Michigan, not the ideal house, not the ideal partner. And from there, I moved into a house that was really nice, but started falling apart. I actually even had one of the contractors come out, and they actually told me that I'm not doing this work for this house because you ain't even gonna be here and stay here. So how was that for manifestation? They told me I wasn't gonna be in this house for much longer, okay? And that was why they refused to do the work, because they didn't want to put the time in for me if I wasn't gonna be in here. They didn't want to give me the special, do this work at a discount for me because I wasn't even gonna stay in this house. And you know, I want to say probably about 4 months later, I was out. So they were right. Now, had they fixed the work, would I still be out? That's another question. But if you know how things work, and you know how source works, and how, you know, nothing is by coincidence, nothing is by chance. So everything happened for me to be the person that I am right now today, and to be where I am right now today. And so you have to go back and you have to look at everything that you experienced, everything that you went through that made this fantastic, beautiful person that is watching this video right now. That's made you who you are today. This beautiful person that you've become today had to go through everything you went through in order for you to come here today and be in this moment. And so sometimes we have to look back at all of that we went through and really show some appreciation and some gratitude for those experiences. Good or bad, they were experiences, they were lessons that were learned, and they were things that you had to overcome in order to be who you are today. And it's a beautiful process, but you have to have some kind of appreciation for it and not lose sight of that. Because you can always go backwards, okay? That bad situation you was in, you can still be in that situation again. You know, so you want to appreciate the lessons that you learn from it. You want to understand those lessons that you learn from it so you don't have to go back through it again, and you can continue to move forward. So, but continuing to move forward and where you're looking at and where you're trying to get, that's the beautiful thing. But again, sometimes we have to stop and appreciate where we came from and what we went through, so we can appreciate who we are today at this moment. Even if it's not what you want to be, even if it's not the person you want to be right now, that's for you to work on in the future. But in the meantime, look at how you were and who you were. And if you don't like it, if your situation is different where you didn't improve over time, then that's something else to reflect on and look at as well, because this gives you the opportunity to do better. Okay, when you know better, you do better, or at least that's how it's supposed to go. So, like I said, if you don't like who you were or who you became out of the situation, then it's time for you to make those changes and maybe switch your goals up a little. Maybe you got to tweak it a little bit as far as where you're going to go. But instead of beating yourself up and trying to feel like you're not as far as advanced, or you're not in the same situation you feel you should be at that time, appreciate where you are. Appreciate the person that you are today, because you went through a lot to become the person you are today. You experienced a lot to become the person that you are today. And so take the time to appreciate that and really love on yourself for that, because you deserve it, okay? You deserve it. Even if you're not where you wanted to be, and even if you went backwards a little bit, the fact that you are here today and you are recognizing that means that you deserve something better and you deserve to do better. So just make it happen. So that's the message for today. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, and share, because if you get something out of it, chances are someone else will as well. I love you, and I will talk to you tomorrow.